Ava Morgan moved like music, not with noise, not with fanfare, but with the kind of rhythm that silenced a room. Every turn of her wrist, every breath between steps, was poetry in motion. She didn't just dance. She told stories with her feet. It was a Thursday evening in the studio, long after everyone else had left. The sun had dipped low, casting golden streaks through the windows. Ava stayed behind, barefoot on the wood floor, sweat clinging to her skin, hair pulled back in a messy bun. Her reflection stared back from the mirrored wall, flushed cheeks, determined eyes, and a kind of wild hunger you couldn't teach. She pressed play. The music swelled. Strings, drums, then silence, before the first note pulsed like a heartbeat. And she leapt into it. Her body knew what her voice didn't always say. This was her language, her fire. Outside the window, cars rolled past, unaware. But in that studio, Ava spun like she was dancing for the universe itself. From the corner, her mother watched quietly, arms crossed, tired but proud. She'd been at every rehearsal, every recital, every moment where Ava needed someone in the wings. Her eyes followed every movement with the patience of someone who had sacrificed much and would do it again without question. Again, Ava whispered breathlessly when the music faded. She didn't wait for approval. She just hit rewind. The floor creaked beneath her pointed toes. Her thighs burned. Her chest ached. But her soul was loud. Because this was it, her whole world. One room, one shot, one dream, Juilliard. She kept a folded acceptance letter tucked into her bag. Just a dream for now, no guarantee. But that didn't stop her. It never had. 10 more minutes, she said aloud, to no one. But her mother answered anyway. Make them count. She did. She danced until the room disappeared, until the walls melted into spotlight, until her breath matched the rhythm of something ancient and electric, until she forgot she was 17, broke and scared, and remembered only this. She was alive, on fire, in motion. Her friends called her obsessed. Her teachers said she needed backup plans. But Ava never planned to slow down. She had no idea the clock was already ticking. That tomorrow, her legs would fail her. That tomorrow, the music would stop. But tonight, she soared. The rain came fast that night. Hard and mean. It slapped the windshield in sheets, the wipers fighting a losing battle. Ava's duffel bag sat beside her on the passenger seat, soaked from the mad dash out of rehearsal. She gripped the wheel with tired fingers, her body aching but wired with adrenaline. The studio lights were still flickering in her mind. The music, the motion, the thrill of pushing herself one more hour, one more pirouette, one more shot at perfect. She shouldn't have driven. She knew that. Her mother had offered to pick her up, but Ava had waved her off with a smile. I'm good, Mom. I've done this drive 100 times. But this time was different. The road curved just past the freeway overpass. A narrow bend Ava had taken countless nights. She barely noticed the shimmer of oil pooled on the asphalt. She never saw the van coming the other way. Her tires lost grip. The car twisted. Skid marks. A horn. Screams. Metal folded like paper. Then silence. Black. When the world returned, it was blinding. Sterile. Still. Ava opened her eyes to hospital whites and fluorescent hums. Her mouth was dry. Her head throbbed. Tubes snaked from her arms. Her mother sat beside the bed, face pale, mascara streaked, holding her hand like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. But it was Ava's legs that didn't move. Not an inch. Not a twitch. Mom. Her voice cracked like glass. I can't. I can't feel. A slow tear rolled down her mother's cheek. But she nodded, steady. I know, baby. I know. The door opened. A man in a white coat stepped in. Kind eyes. Tired eyes. A clipboard clutched tight like it might soften the blow. He spoke gently, but Ava only heard 5 words. You may never walk again. They echoed, louder than the crash, louder than the silence that followed, louder than her heartbeat, which now pounded with a new rhythm panic. Ava blinked, as if blinking would undo it, as if this was a dream, a cruel scene in someone else's life. But, I'm a dancer, she whispered. The doctor nodded. I know. No, you don't understand. Her voice sharpened. That's all I am. His eyes didn't flinch. Then that's what you fight for. But in Ava's mind, the floor was gone. The mirrors were gone. The beat, gone. Just wires. And pain. And a body that had betrayed her. The room filled with people over the next few days. Nurses. Therapists. Specialists. They all spoke in hopeful tones, but their words landed like shards. Recovery will take time. There's a chance, but no guarantee. Some feeling might return. Focus on what you can do. But all Ava could hear was what she couldn't. She couldn't stand. She couldn't stretch. She couldn't dance. Every night, she stared at her legs, willing them to move. Her toes. Her ankles. Anything. Nothing answered. And in her heart, something cracked. The girl in motion was gone. Her room was once filled with music. Now, it was silent. The stereo sat unplugged. Dust layered over the old CD stacked like a forgotten snowfall. Ava lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the cracks in the plaster. She had named them, measured them, tracked them like lifelines. Because nothing else moved anymore. Not the light in her window, not her phone, not her legs, not her. Her trophies lined the wall opposite the bed. A row of polished dreams. First place, soloist, regional champion. She had won them all, one pirouette, one bleeding foot at a time. Now, they mocked her. Useless, frozen. Ava hadn't posted on social media in weeks. The comments had slowed. The DMs stopped. At first, people messaged, "You got this, Ava," or "Thinking of you, Dance Queen." But after the first 2 weeks, silence took their place. She was no longer part of the team. The group chat went quiet. Or maybe they just removed her. It was almost midnight. The house was quiet. Just the soft hum of the refrigerator and the distant ticking of a clock on the hallway wall. Ava lay awake, not asleep, not dreaming, just drifting in that gray space where time didn't matter. Outside, rain tapped lightly at the window as if it, too, hesitated to intrude. The door creaked open, barely. Her mother's silhouette stood in the soft light of the hallway. She didn't speak. Just stepped inside and placed a laptop on Ava's nightstand. Ava blinked. "What are you?" "I found something," her mom said softly, her voice barely a breeze. "Just watch it, if you want." Then she turned and left. The screen glowed faintly in the dark. For a moment, Ava didn't move. Then, click. The video opened. Grainy footage. A younger Ava, 13 maybe, spun across a stage in a red leotard, face glowing with sweat and joy. Her hair was in a tight bun, her arms slicing through the air like wings. Music pulsed beneath her, but it was her rhythm that owned the room. She leapt, landed, smiled, bowed. The crowd erupted, and in the corner of the frame, her mom, standing, crying, cheering. Ava's breath caught in her throat. The video looped. Again. She didn't stop it. Her eyes stung. That girl on the screen, she had fire in her veins. She danced like every moment mattered. Like her body was an instrument and the music a lifeline. Every step, a heartbeat. Every turn, a choice to live louder. That was me. Her hand touched the screen, fingertips to the ghost of her past self. She watched the way her feet moved, light, quick, alive. She remembered what it felt like, the burn in her thighs, the wind in her lungs, the way the stage lights felt like a sunrise just for her. A lump rose in her throat. She didn't cry, not this time. She inhaled, closed her eyes, and whispered, barely audible, "I will dance again." It wasn't loud. It wasn't confident, but it was real. The spark had returned. Not a blaze. Not yet. But it flickered. Somewhere in the dark, a piece of her had decided to fight. She never checked. Her phone buzzed once. Prom photos. Her best friend Jenna smiling with the boy Ava used to dream about. A corsage on her wrist. A dress that shimmered in the sunset. Ava tossed the phone aside. Face down. She would never wear a dress like that. Never dance in heels. Never feel music pounding through a gym floor again. Something broke. That night, she screamed into her pillow. "I hate this. I hate you." She shouted through sobs, fist pounding her mattress. "You ruined everything." Her mother stood in the doorway, still in scrubs, still smelling faintly of antiseptic and exhaustion. She didn't say a word, just walked in, knelt down, and brushed Ava's hair back from her damp forehead. Ava jerked away. "Don't. Just don't." Her mom's hand trembled, then lowered. "I get it, sweetheart," she whispered. "No, you don't. You still walk. You still live." Her mother's face flinched, just slightly, but she nodded. "You're right." Ava turned away, the cold wall her only comfort now. "Why me?" She asked that question to the ceiling every night. No answer. In therapy, she said little, mostly stared out the window as the counselor tried gentle words. She wanted to scream. She wanted to disappear. What's the point of dreaming if it can be taken in a second? What's the point of hope? One morning, her mom opened the blinds to let in sunlight. "Please don't," Ava murmured, shielding her face. But the light came anyway. Her mom didn't speak, just left breakfast on the tray, then walked out. The scent of toast lingered, but Ava didn't touch it. She rolled to her side, facing the wall. Her body, a prison. Her voice, a blade. The spiral was deep, and Ava was falling. The room smelled like disinfectant and quiet frustration. Ava stared at the parallel bars in front of her, their cold steel gleaming beneath fluorescent lights. Her hands, wrapped in soft cloth, trembled slightly as she reached forward. "This is where it starts," said the therapist, a woman named Carla with a firm voice and kind eyes that didn't coddle. "Not where it ends." Ava didn't reply. She couldn't. Her breath was already unsteady. Her legs felt like they belonged to someone else, someone weaker, someone broken. She placed her hands on the bars. The world narrowed. Just her body, and that cruel distance between standing still and moving forward. She pushed. Nothing. She gritted her teeth and tried again. Her right foot slid an inch, but her left. She slipped. Her knees buckled. The bars screeched as she crumpled to the mat. Her face hit fabric, not tile. But the humiliation hit harder. Carla didn't rush, didn't gasp. She knelt, calm and close. Again, Ava's eyes filled with tears. Her fist curled. "I can't." "You can." I said, her voice cracked. "I can't." Carla didn't flinch. "Then just try." Silence. The ceiling above seemed to blur. Ava closed her eyes and tried. She gripped the bar, pulled herself upright. Her arms shook like leaves in a storm. Sweat formed on her brow. One breath, another. Then, one step. The left leg wobbled, nearly gave in, but didn't. The mirror on the far wall showed her face. Red, strained, scared, but standing. Carla's voice lowered. That's it. That's where it begins. Day by day, the movements came in inches. In pain, in silence, in refusal. She fell. Again and again. Sometimes she screamed. Sometimes she sobbed into the mat, hating the world, hating herself, hating the music she could no longer feel in her bones. But she never left without finishing. Every time she dropped, she rose. Carla never praised her, only nodded. Next time, you do more. And Ava did. One afternoon, her mother peeked through the glass window of the rehab room. She watched as Ava pushed herself forward, drenched in sweat, biting back tears. She clutched the door frame, whispering, "My God, she's fighting." The next session, Ava walked 2 full paces. The bars creaked under her weight, but they held. And so did she. That night, Ava sat in her wheelchair at the edge of her bed, staring at a photo of her and her dad, age 10, holding a trophy, beaming. She touched the corner of the frame. "I'm still here," she whispered. And then, quietly, rhythmically, she tapped her fingers on her leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. A count, a beat. Pain, she realized, was part of the song now. It wouldn't stop her. It would carry her. The world was still asleep when Ava crept into the living room. No birds yet, no alarms, just the hush before sunrise and the quiet hum of her breath, shaky but determined. She gripped the walker with both hands, fingers tight, shoulders set. The old stereo blinked to life. A soft piano melody filled the room, the same song she once danced to in recitals, in rooms full of light and mirrors. But now, there were no mirrors, no leotards, just sweatpants, braces, and bruises that lived under her skin. Her right foot moved. Slight, barely there, but enough. Then her left, slower, cautious. The walker clanked against the wooden floor. 1 step, 2, 3. Her face contorted, not from pain, but from memory, of gliding, of spinning, of flying. Now she shuffled, stiff, mechanic. Every motion felt like betrayal, like her body was mocking what it once was. But still, she kept going. In the hallway, behind the cracked bedroom door, her mother stood with her hand to her mouth, silent, shaking, watching through glassy eyes as her daughter took another faltering step. Another. Ava reached the center of the room. Her breath hitched. A tear slid down her cheek. She let go of the walker. It stood beside her like a challenge, a relic. Her knees trembled under her weight. Her body swayed like a branch in a storm. But her arms lifted, gently, softly. She moved them like silk through water, muscle memory fighting through the rust. Her right leg twitched in rhythm. She gasped, a quiet sob escaping her lips. Because she felt it. A spark, not just a movement. A dance. Her torso shifted, spine lengthened, neck aligned. The choreography was broken, but beautiful. She moved like a girl learning to walk and remember at the same time. It wasn't graceful, it wasn't clean, but it was hers. Each step, a rebellion. Each tremble, a prayer. She stumbled back into the walker, panting, collapsed onto the couch, and laughed, a dry, breathless sound. But it was joy, real, pure, earned. Her mother stepped into the room, unable to hide anymore. Their eyes met. No words, just tears, and something between them that felt like sunrise. Later that week, Ava swapped the walker for crutches. Then the braces came off. Her steps grew more confident. Her arms moved with intent. The dance was coming back, not as it was, but as it could be. Every move she practiced now was forged in silence, stitched in pain, and set ablaze by the fire she refused to let die. Ava didn't just want to dance again. She wanted to show the world what it looked like to rise from the floor when no one believed you could. And every morning, before the sun rose, the living room became her stage. The letter sat unopened on the kitchen table for 3 days. Thick parchment, gold embossed seal. Ava didn't need to read it to know what it said. Her mother had twice, maybe 3 times. She'd set it beside Ava's plate each morning, gently nudging it forward with the toast. Ava always pushed it aside, until the 3rd night. She opened it with shaking hands. Read it once, then again. We invite you, Ava Monroe, to deliver the senior farewell address at graduation. Her name, her voice, her moment. She laughed, bitter, dry. How could she walk to a podium when there were still mornings her knees buckled brushing her teeth? She left the letter on the counter, tried to forget about it, but it followed her. In the way her mother glanced at her when music played. In the rhythm she still counted in her head as she moved up the stairs 1, 2, and hold. In the empty living room where she used to dance. A week passed, then 2. She was folding laundry when the thought came, uninvited. What if I don't just walk to the podium? She stopped, towel half folded in her lap. What if I dance? Her heart thudded. Her breath caught. The idea was ridiculous, terrifying. It also felt, right? She told her mom that night over tea. Her mother blinked, set down her mug. Are you serious? Ava nodded. If I'm going to speak, I want them to see who I am, who I still am. The next day, she asked to meet with her physical therapist, Maya, a strong, no-nonsense woman who had seen her at her worst. I want to dance across the stage, Ava said, voice firm. Maya stared at her, then exhaled. It's possible, she said, but it'll be painful, very painful. You'll need strength, stamina, control. One wrong angle and I know. Maya studied her in silence. Then let's get to work. What followed were 6 of the hardest weeks of Ava's life. The kind of training no one else saw. Crutches one day, balance bars the next. Her body ached in ways it never had before, deep, grinding pain that made her scream into pillows and soak her sheets with sweat. There were setbacks, a slip on a turn, a sprain in her ankle, days where her legs simply wouldn't. But she didn't stop, because this wasn't just about proving them wrong anymore. It was about proving herself right. At night, when the pain made sleep impossible, she would play the instrumental track, the one she used to choreograph in her dreams. She could still feel the movement in her bones, not just steps, messages. Every gesture said something. Every reach, every rise, every stumble, it all meant something now. She wasn't dancing for applause. She was dancing for the little girl who used to believe the world had limits, and the young woman who now knew it didn't. 2 days before graduation, Ava sat on the edge of her bed, legs shaking from rehearsal, heart thrumming. Her mother entered quietly, holding a garment bag. Inside, a white dress. Simple, elegant, with the smallest stitched design on the sleeve, a stitched gold ribbon. Her father's ribbon, for strength. Ava held it close, then whispered, "It's time." The floor met her knees with a thud. Ava didn't cry out. Not this time. Her palms pressed against the hardwood. Her breath caught somewhere between pain and pride. She had made it halfway through the turn. Progress. Again, she gritted her teeth, stood, shook, and pressed play. The same melody hummed through the old Bluetooth speaker. A soft, rising swell, a cello first, then piano. It used to move through her like wind in a field. Now, it moved through scar tissue. stubborn joints, muscles that remembered what her spine still forgot. The living room had become her studio, the coffee table pushed aside, a makeshift bar made from a broom handle and 2 stacks of encyclopedias. Framed photos of her on stage leaned against the wall, reminders, not regrets. Her mother-stitched sequins by the window, hands steady, glasses low on her nose. She didn't speak, just watched, stitched, loved. Ava placed 1 foot forward. Step. It shook beneath her, but held. Turn. She wobbled, caught herself. Slide. The floor whispered under her socked foot. A sharp twinge in her hip made her wince. Breathe. Again, and again, and again. There were moments when the pain made her scream into her pillow at night. Moments where she collapsed on the floor, fist clenched, jaw tight, too proud to weep, too broken not to. But then morning came, and she moved again, every step carved from grit, every breath borrowed from memory. There were small victories, touching her toes again, balancing on 1 foot for 10 seconds. The first time she spun fully, once, without falling. Her mother wept at night in the hallway, thinking Ava couldn't hear. But Ava heard, and it made her stronger. In the mirror, her body transformed, not back into what it was, but into something forged. Her muscles weren't as sleek, but they were steel. Her back wasn't as straight, but her spirit was straighter. She didn't just learn her routine, she rebuilt herself inside of it. It wasn't about perfection, it was about presence. The dress waited on the back of the bedroom door, white with a gentle shimmer. Her mother had added the final sequin just hours before, a gold one, right at the heart. On the final night of rehearsal, Ava stood in the center of the room, alone. Music played softly. She closed her eyes. Step. She didn't stumble. Turn. She floated. Slide. She landed. And when the last note faded into silence, she stood, arms wide, chest lifted, gaze steady. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She had made it, not to the end of the dance, but to the beginning of the rest of her life. Sunlight poured through the high windows of the auditorium, painting golden streaks across rows of folding chairs and proud parents gripping tissues. Flashbulbs sparked. Names echoed. The air pulsed with celebration. Aaron Miles. Cheers. Lily Nin. Applause. The stage gleamed under the warm wash of spotlights. One by one, students in blue and gold gowns crossed to receive their diplomas. They hugged principals, smiled for the cameras, walked off into a new life. And then, a pause. The announcer cleared his throat. Ava Morgan. Silence. No one moved. A few looked around. Was she absent? A faint, familiar melody began to play. Cello first, then piano. The same haunting, hopeful song she had practiced to, over and over. It drifted softly from the speakers and washed over the room like breath held in suspense. Then she appeared, stage left. From behind the velvet curtain, a white dress beneath her gown. Simple, sequined. Her shoulders were square, her chin lifted, and her first step was slow, deliberate. The crowd hushed. Every head turned. Whispers floated like dust in the still air. Is that her? Is she walking? She took another step, and another. Braces hidden beneath the fabric steadied her legs, metal whispering with each shift. But she didn't wobble. She danced, not with leaps, not with turns, but with fire. Her mother stood in the wings, one hand pressed to her mouth, the other clutching the program tight against her heart. Her eyes shimmered, not with fear, but with awe. Ava reached center stage and paused. The spotlight bathed her in gold. She extended her arms, slow, fluid, the way she once had in spring recitals and studio showcases. But this time, there was no choreography, only truth, only her. Her body swayed with the music, gentle, raw, defiant. Her movements carved a story through the air, of pain, of persistence, of grace that didn't need speed or pirouettes to speak. She turned carefully, faced the crowd, then took one final step toward the podium. The diploma waited. She accepted it with trembling hands. The music faded. Stillness. 1 second. 2. Then a single clap. Another. Then dozens. Hundreds. The entire auditorium rose. A standing ovation. Not for perfection, but for presence. For the girl who had once been told she might never walk again. Dancing across a stage, she refused to surrender. Ava stood at the center of it all, not as a survivor, not even as a dancer, but as someone who refused to sit still while her story was being written. The gymnasium lights dimmed. A hush swept through the auditorium, thick and expectant. The crowd, students, parents, faculty, leaned forward in their seats. Somewhere in the front row, a mother clutched the edge of her chair, lips pressed tight. Then, from the wings, she stepped out. Ava. The room inhaled as one. She wore white, a simple dress. Sequins shimmered faintly under the spotlight. Her braces glinted as she took her place center stage. Her hands trembled at her sides. Her breath came in quick bursts, but her chin lifted and her eyes burned. She heard nothing, saw no one, just the floor beneath her, the silence before music, the moment before the world turned again. Then the first note. Her foot moved. The other followed. A spin. One turn. The crowd didn't dare exhale. 2 turns. Her arms lifted with the music. Not perfect, not polished, but powerful, real. Every movement a story, every count a battle. Her right knee wobbled on the next pivot, but she caught it, held it, drove it down. Ava danced. For every night she wept into her pillow. For every morning her legs refused to listen. For the girl who screamed in therapy, who had to relearn standing like it was rocket science. For the father she missed. For the mother who never stopped believing. The music swelled. She stretched her arms wide, turned slowly, deliberately, a full 8 count of solo choreography. Her heartbeat pulsed through every limb, every fiber. Her legs were shaking now, but she smiled, a tear carving down her cheek like silver in moonlight. Final pose. Arms high. Silence. And then, like thunder splitting sky, the auditorium exploded. Cheers. Gasps. Applause so loud it rattled the folding chairs. Students leapt to their feet. Teachers wiped their eyes. Ava stood, chest heaving, eyes wide stunned. She bowed, just once. From the corner of her eye, she saw Principal Wallace step forward, holding her diploma. His hand shook as he handed it to her. Ava Thompson, he choked. Graduate, performer, miracle. Her fingers wrapped around the certificate strong, steady. And in the front row, her mother crumpled into sobs, shoulders shaking, face in hands. The tears she'd hidden for months now flowing like a storm breaking free. Ava looked out over the roaring crowd, the lights warm on her face, her knees still trembling, and she smiled. She had danced again, not just across a stage, but across the finish line of something no one thought she'd survive. And in that moment, her body wasn't broken. It was brave. The mirrors stretched from wall to wall, polished and glowing in the soft morning light. Tiny ballet slippers tapped across the wooden floor. A half circle of young dancers giggled, arms awkwardly curved above their heads. A piano melody trickled softly from a speaker in the corner. At the front of the room stood Ava, older now, mid-20s, but the fire in her eyes hadn't dimmed. Her hair was pinned loosely, A white t-shirt bore the faded logo of her own dance studio, Ava Dance Company, etched in silver on the wall behind her. She wore leggings, sneakers, and a black knee brace. Sleeker now, lighter than the one she wore back then, but it was still there. A reminder, not of weakness, but of war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Her voice rose, bright and sharp. The girls turned, twirled. One slipped and fell. Another scowled at her own reflection. Ava knelt down, offering a hand to the girl on the ground. "It's not about being perfect," she whispered. "It's about showing up." The girl blinked at her. "But why do you walk funny?" The question wasn't mean, just honest, curious. Ava paused. For a second, the studio felt quieter, like the mirrors were listening, like the wood under her feet remembered her first stumble, her first brace, the moment her legs stopped, and the day they danced again. She smiled. "Because," she said softly, "I once danced through fire." The room hushed. The girls stared. "And every scar I carry now," she added, rising to her feet, "is part of the music." She took her place again. The speaker crackled. The beat returned, and Ava moved, slower than she used to, but stronger. Every step held memory. Every turn echoed a battle one. There was still pain. Some mornings, her knee didn't want to bend, but she danced anyway, because the rhythm had never left her, because the stage didn't end at graduation, because healing isn't walking perfectly. It's choosing to move, even if you have to limp. Ava glanced at the clock. Outside, parents waited in cars. Beyond the windows, the sun was rising, gold spilling across the sidewalk like confetti. Her mother's car pulled into the lot. She still came by sometimes, still cried sometimes, still beamed like Ava had just won her first medal. And in the studio, her studio, Ava turned toward her students. "Again," she called out, "but this time, dance like it's the only thing keeping you from flying." The music swelled. Dozens of little feet shuffled. Arms lifted. Laughter echoed. Ava stepped forward with them, not because she had to, but because she still could.